will experience the full power of the dark side.
Astral Actions are the brand new multiverse powers we have unlocked with the Astral Planes DLC. In this video, I'm going to go through every single Astral Action and rank them on a tier list. Let's start right at the beginning by asking the question, what are Astral Actions? Well, they are special multiverse powers you can take using astral threads. What are astral threads? They're a brand new resource that has entered Stellaris as of patch 3.10. In order to get these, you'll have to either complete astral rifts or alternatively mine them from space by building some research stations around astral scars or any other deposit that produces astral threads. You get income every month like any other resource and have a storage capacity. That capacity is 500 right at the start of the game, but will be increased by 250 every time you complete an astral rift by sending your scientist in and getting to the end, and for every astral siphon building that you build. You can then spend these astral threads on astral actions. They will give your empire an instant benefit and may unlock other future abilities. Depending on the number of astral rifts you have completed, you will get access to specific astral actions. The more rifts you complete, the more astral actions you can get your hands on. Speaking of astral rifts, you can now explore the Kelvin timeline in Star Trek Fleet Command. Join millions in this free-to-play 4X MMO, recruit legendary characters like Captain Kirk and Spock to command iconic ships from over 50 years of Star Trek lore. Immerse yourself in an open world from the Alpha to Omega quadrants with absolutely stunning graphics. You can engage in epic battles with players worldwide, forming alliances and conquering territories. This rift offers a new immersive Star Trek story, so you can explore even more alternative dimensions and storylines. Celebrate the 5th anniversary of Fleet Command and use promo code WARPSPEED to get a free new player content pack, which includes 10 epic shards of Kirk. Are you ready to boldly go where no one has gone before? It's time to set phasers to fun and download Star Trek Fleet Command today using the link in the description or the QR code on your screen now and join the celebration. Alright, that is the backstory, that is all the information you require. Now let's dive into the tier list and find out all about the new Astral Actions. We'll start at the bottom with the F tier. Something you do need to understand is that none of the Astral Actions are outright negative or bad for your empire. The issue with the items down here in the F tier is that you're spending your astral threads on these actions when you can spend them on others. We've got two actions here that basically have the same icon. First, we have Gain Quantum Catapult Insight. This unlocks the quantum catapult technology for research with 25% progress. You must have completed 2 astral rifts in order to unlock this action. You can see that denoted by the 2 on the bottom left of the icon, and it will cost you 750 astral threads. Why is this down here in the F tier? Basically, my F tier is an ode to the fact that the quantum catapult is absolute garbage. It does not matter how many bonuses the devs stack on this thing, it will never be a useful, applicable weapon for attack if you cannot, at the very least, stack up your fleets into a single grouping and throw them somewhere else in the galaxy. And make sure they all arrive in the same location. There is absolutely no problem with the destination of any fleet thrown with a quantum catapult, or quantum trebuchet if you're that way inclined, being random. That's a cool feature. On the other hand, splitting up every single fleet we send to randomly go to a random set of locations is really bad. There is no way of attacking aggressively and defensively other than throwing individual ships, small fleets with long-range carrier capabilities to snipe starbases. That's pretty much the only use the quantum catapult has. It's a weapon of mass harassment. If you actually build a quantum catapult, you then get astral calibration. gain quantum catapult insight goes away for obvious reasons. And if you activate this action, you'll get plus 15% quantum ambush ship fire rate, plus 25% quantum catapult accuracy, and plus 100% quantum ambush duration. Why is this so bad? Well, basically it's just a continuation of what I explained before. It doesn't matter how much, well, I say that there is a limit to how much you could buff it where it would finally be great. I don't know if it was, say, plus 1,000% fire rate and accuracy and all of those kind of crazy things, then sure. But these small buffs adding to the fire rate of individual fleets without allowing those fleets the ability to coordinate and fight together does not allow the quantum catapult to be useful. We're up to the C tier now. Items here aren't quite as useless as the quantum catapult. They either buff further your ability to get more astral threads, which is kind of useful, or have very niche use, possibly great. I've not been able to really work out exactly how you could optimally use this, but actually let's just dive straight into the item I'm talking about. Dimensional shifting is quite a weird power. So once you've completed 4 astral rifts, for 1,000 threads you can unlock the phase fleet order. That allows your fleets to phase out of existence, safe in a different dimension for 180 days, that's 6 months or half a year. The fleets will then return fully repaired. This dimensional shifting action can only be used once as an astral action, and then it unlocks forever the phase fleet order. Now, as far as I can tell, you cannot use this in combat. If you could use it to phase a fleet out of combat, yes, this would be a very, very awesome power, very annoying, very terrifying actually, to not know whether or not an enemy fleet is suddenly going to just disappear, come back in 6 months and be fully repaired. But you can't do that. You can only phase a fleet out just after or just before a combat starts. Overall, I found minimal use for it when I could just bring my fleet to a starbase, move them home, that sort of thing. I'm sure somebody out there might work out a great use for it, and if you have already, please write that down in the comments below. I'd love to find out what it is. But overall, at the moment, I really just don't think this one's particularly worth it. Once you've completed your very first astral rift, you can use the Astral Siphon action. You can use this action up to 3 times. Each time it has a slightly different effect. The first time unlocks the Astral Siphon planetary building. This building increases your storage capacity of astral threads and provides 2 astral researcher jobs. Astral researchers are specialists and they turn consumer goods into research points, a lower amount than a regular researcher, whilst also generating astral thread income. The overall income generated is relatively low per pop, and because you're getting less in the way of research, I'd normally recommend just using normal researchers. The building itself could be good to build to increase your storage capacity if you really need it, for some of the actions we might look at later on, but overall, you can generally get away with not building these buildings if you don't want to. Every time you use this, or at least on the second and third times, you will get an upgraded version of the Astral Siphon building. Level 2 has 4 jobs and level 3 has 6 jobs, following the normal building upgrade progression path. Given the way that I chapter this video, it's highly likely that you might have skipped ahead to the S tier and checked out what is going to be right at the very end. Because of that fact, I'm going to stick the secret call out right here in the C tier. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the secret call out. We're barely any distance through the video at all. We haven't gotten to the B tier yet, but if you are actually watching this bit, which I think statistics tell me is the least viewed segment of the video, congratulations, and let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Welcome to the B tier. This is the tier where we actually have some pretty powerful actions finally, though depending on the circumstances and the situation, you might find that in fact they're pretty useless. Dimensional Lock is a power that I think the game has needed for quite some time now. It allows you to use your science ships to place one-dimensional lock on a wormhole, L-gate, or shroud tunnel. You must note that this cannot be used in the L-Gate home system of terminal egress, so you cannot shut down the network. You can just stop one exit from working. However, this doesn't stop you from still using that bypass. So if you lock down your wormhole, for example, you can, and anyone else that has open borders with you, fly through that wormhole unimpeded. However, your enemies will be completely unable to do so. The best way to set this up, I would recommend, is with a science ship that is cloaked and in your own territory, thus pretty much untargetable. And then you can use it to lock a wormhole as some fleets pass through. Let's say you're at war and you're on the defensive, but other fleets are left on the other side. That way you can defeat the enemy in detail. Very, very scary indeed. Of course, if you don't have any wormholes, if there are no bypass with strategic importance around you, then this is really useless. It only lasts 10 years, but the cooldown on this power is 10 years, so you can forever basically lock down one wormhole. And if you're enjoying this video, please dimensionally lock that like button. If you have the jump drive technology and you have completed 3 astral rifts, you can learn how to fold hyperspace. By taking this action just the once, you will unlock the Astral Jump Fleet Order empire-wide. This fleet order is really, really interesting. It is somewhat analogous to the power of a genie. Infinite cosmic power, itty bitty living space. So your jump drives will be able to, at the cost of 500 astral threads per fleet per usage, jump with an unlimited range. And perhaps even more importantly, you will not suffer any of the negative modifiers associated with using jump drives. And now comes the itty bitty living space. You can only use this special type of jump, the astral jump, to jump ships inside of your own borders. They can come from anywhere else in the galaxy, but they must arrive inside your own space, so you cannot use this offensively unless you're planning on some sort of awesome bait and switch, in which case, yes, you absolutely can use it offensively. Flash forging hyper relays requires that you have completed 3 rifts and have the hyper relay technology. This costs between 500 and 1,000 astral threads, as well as 50 influence. It then lets you instantly build a single hyper relay. I don't know what the exact conversion is between astral threads and other resources, but it is good not to have to spend the alloys and crystals on building a relay, plus it gets to be built instantly. Overall though, yeah, it's not that useful. It's nice, it's interesting, but not amazing. It's a great outlet for astral threads if you don't really have anything else to spend them on. What would improve this action is if they took away the influence requirements. You can only use this once every 900 days anyway, so you're not really going to be using it abusively to ignore the influence costs and build up your entire hyper relay network, but that influence cost really is something I wish just was not there. Last up in the B tier, we have probably one of the more exciting new actions, that is summoning a dimensional fleet. If you have completed 5 rifts and have the psionic theory technology, for the cost of 1,750 threads, you can summon a fleet. This is a fleet of extra-dimensional destroyers and cruisers that you can control. If you can get this power early enough, then it could be deciding in many, many wars. However, you do have to complete 5 astral rifts, which are meant to be mid to late game in terms of when you can actually get them out. And then comes the big problem. This fleet will only be around for 10 years, which means you can't use this power again and again to build up a sizable navy. On top of that, they come with the Unbidden's weapon, the Matter Disintegrators, which are very, very good. However, if an enemy manages to kill this fleet and salvages the technology, you could be in for a real tough time when they suddenly have entire fleets, all of their fleets in fact, filled with Matter Disintegrators. The other issue is that this fleet does not have a power level scaling to whichever power level you currently have within, let's say, not just your empire, but possibly the entire galaxy. It's almost impossible for the developers, I think, to balance this perfectly, because how do you know what the power level in the galaxy really is to then set this to a specific fleet power that will be impactful without being game breaking? Early on, it's very powerful. Later on, it's completely irrelevant. When you have 1 million to 3 million in fleet power, one-dimensional fleet is really neither here nor there. One last comment on the dimensional fleet though, in terms of cool factor, this is definitely S tier. I mean, you get to play with unbidden fleets. That is awesome. Just possibly not super powerful. We're now up in the A tier. In some situations, powers from the B tier are arguably more powerful and more useful. However, the A tier represents powers that are both good and very, very reliable. One of the last actions you can unlock is Planar Mastery. If you've completed 5 Astral Rifts, you can spend 1500 Astral Threads to then unlock the Astral Edicts. These edicts are really very good and offer you a way of directly converting astral threads into something usable in other aspects of the game, which is why it's all the way up here in the S tier. The most expensive of these is Astral Binding, with a base upkeep of 25 threads, which, don't forget, will be multiplied by a factor based on your empire size. The larger your empire, the more expensive this is per month. You will get plus 10% resources from jobs empire-wide. This would be in the S tier if we were going to rank it in the Edict tier list. The only issue here mainly is going to be whether or not you have enough astral threads to leave it running permanently, or you have to turn it on and off every now and then. Next is Astral Shielding, arguably even more powerful, but only while you are in combat. This grants plus 25% shield hit points empire-wide, and spectacularly, plus 25% shield hardening. This should put a stop to any pesky missiles from decimating your fleets, and basically just any bypass weaponry. Last but by no means least, we have Dimensional Artificing, allowing you to convert astral threads into minor artifacts. You will get at the base of 10 astral threads in upkeep plus 5 minor artifacts per month. I somewhat wish this minor artifact income would scale with the astral thread upkeep, because plus 5 is good, but not that many. It does give you the very nice option of getting minor artifacts somehow if you have been unlucky and either not found any archaeology sites or not rolled any minor artifact deposits that can then be used for a minor artifact income. The very first astral action you will ever get access to, before even the astral splitting action just on my right that we're about to get onto, is Gain Physics Insight. This costs between 250 and 1,750 astral threads and can be used every 5 years. For 5 years, if you use this, you will get a plus 10% monthly physics research buff. That is added after all of the other modifiers as far as I can tell, so that is an increase to your income of 10%, not just plus 10% output from jobs, so it is actually quite a good bonus. This is really nice because you can use it right from the start before you've even unlocked Rift Sphere technology and can enter any astral rifts. You can use your threads to actually get something. Once you've completed Rift Sphere technology and can access astral rifts, you'll be able to use the astral splitting action. This creates an astral rift in a random owned system without any adjacent astral rifts. You can only use this action up to 4 times, meaning you can only create up to 4 rifts. But it does allow you to unlock all but 2 of the astral actions. And therefore it's really, really powerful. Not only that, but astral rifts have some very unique and powerful rewards all of their own, from technology to resources to really, really, really good relics like the Continuum. Being able to create new astral rifts at will without needing them to form naturally is essential to progressing down the astral action path. At least if you want to do it in a timely manner anyway. We're now coming right to the end of the tier list. I hope you've enjoyed it so far, and I hope you might have learned something about the new astral action mechanics. The items at this very end point are, in my opinion, the best, except one of these 3, which I will illuminate, is possibly not that amazing. However, from my personal experience, it has come in clutch quite a few times. And even if it does not deserve its position up here in the S tier, I love it anyway, and you can't stop me. Lateral artifacting requires that you have 2 relics and you have completed 4 astral rifts. If you don't have 2 relics, it's useless anyway, so that requirement, I don't even feel it really should be there. But what does it do? It removes the current relic activation cooldown. It costs less in terms of astral threads, depending on the amount of time before that cooldown ends, and overall, this is just really, really awesome. Being able to have 2 relics running at the same time, having 2 active relics, is really, really powerful. That's not just the relics we've got from the Astral Planes DLC, that's all of the relics throughout all of the game. This single action lets you activate 2 at the same time. I mean, I can just say that in another way, but really it's really, really good. The Astral Boost action seems pretty innocuous on the surface. It grants plus 15% sublight speed for 5 years and minus 15% hyper jump charge time. Now that second one is very, very nice, as there are very, very few ways of reducing hyper jump charge time. What this means is that your ships will fly from system to system faster than ever before. The increase to sublight speed is even better. Having high sublight speed is crucial now given the current combat balance of the game. With missile ships that are kiting and doing all sorts of craziness and needing to get into or out of effective range of the enemy, having a higher sublight speed is massively, massively important. This only requires a single astral rift to be completed in order to unlock this action, and generally I would turn it on every single time I am going to war. Make sure to have between 500 and 1,000 astral threads lying around so you can turn this on whenever a war starts, and definitely don't forget about its existence. The last, and as you may have guessed, / depending on your point of view, the least powerful of the S tier actions is gain Hyper Relay Insight. This costs only 300 threads and unlocks the Hyper Relay technology for research with 50% progress. You must have completed 3 astral rifts in order to get access to this bad boy, but for those of you out there like me that have had real tough times in some specific games with getting access to the Hyper Relay technology, I think it's just bad luck. Maybe the dice gods are against me. I don't know who I upset in a past life, but this action allows you to sidestep that problem entirely and just get access to Hyper Relay technology whenever you darn well want. Yes, you need to complete 3 astral rifts, so in some games you might unlock the Hyper Relay technology before you can actually use this, but that's not a problem because if you do, this action just goes away entirely and is replaced by the Flash Forge Hyper Relay, so it never has any opportunity cost, because if you have the technology it's not there, and if you haven't got it, well look, you can get that technology immediately. For those of you who are, the Chads amongst us and have never ever had an issue getting your Hyper Relays up, well, congratulations. Feel free to let me know in the comments below, in a smug and demeaning fashion, how easy it is for you to unlock this technology and how you've never had a problem with it. I'm definitely looking forward to those comments. If you've enjoyed this video on Stellaris, but you'd like to know how to build the tallest empire possible in Stellaris, click the video on screen now.